Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Happy Diabetic Kitchen Podcast. In this episode, we're going to talk to the founder and creator of GoCoCo, an amazing new app that you can download at the App Store or the Google Play Store to help you shop better in your pantry and your local supermarket. This and our tip of the podcast, our cooking tip of the podcast, things I learned at the CIA. So it's going to be a great episode today. Stay tuned. We will be right back. Hello, everyone. I am Chef Robert Lewis, the Happy Diabetic. Welcome to the internet's most delicious cooking podcast. I'm here in the kitchen getting ready to explore a healthy diabetic lifestyle. I want to take the mystery out of healthy cooking, explore some amazing foods, and my diabetic journey with all my successes and all my challenges. Let me help you live your best happy diabetic lifestyle. So welcome to the kitchen. And if you're new to the show, I am so happy you're here. Welcome back, everybody. It's now time for my tip that I learned at the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York. Taste and season several times throughout the entire cooking process. Don't wait to the end to add your salt and pepper. Season at every step and taste at every step. See how your tastes are developing in the recipe that you're making. If you're tasting your recipe all along the way during the cooking process, you'll be able to determine if certain flavors are lacking or overpowering, and you can adjust for those seasonings. It's a simple way to make your food taste really good. This tip from the CIA that I learned while in chef school is so valuable if you want to be a better cook, because over time, it will help you develop your flavor palette, giving you the confidence to step away from following a recipe blindly and adjust flavors based on your instincts. If a recipe calls for 1 tablespoon of oregano, but you think it needs more, use more, or maybe thyme, or maybe a different spice would be just what you're looking for. But what really is seasoning? And what does it mean to season? Well, according to Wikipedia, seasoning is the process of supplementing food via herbs, spices, salts, and or sugar intended to enhance a particular flavor of a dish. So when seasoning food, follow these simple tips. Taste as you go. Taste the food as you season it so you can adjust it before the dish is finished. Stick to a theme. Certain flavors pair well together. Build layers of flavor. Add different flavors to create depth. Salt, taste, and repeat. Add salt, taste, and then if you need more, add more, because listen, you can always add more seasonings, but you can never take it out. And you want to make sure that your spices are fresh. Now, fresh meaning not old. Simply smell the container. If it smells like the spice that you're using, it's great. If it smells like wet dog, throw it out. So here are my top spices that you should have in your kitchen, and I will put this list in the show notes. Ground cumin, basil, cinnamon, bay leaves, paprika and smoked paprika, thyme, garlic powder, oregano, onion powder, rosemary. If you like some kick, red pepper flakes are always amazing in your kitchen. Cayenne pepper, coriander, turmeric, curry powder, yellow mustard, Cajun seasoning, allspice powder, chili powder, black pepper, and sea salt. When storing spices, the enemies of spices are air, light, and humidity and heat. So when purchasing spices in bulk, store them in an airtight container or in the freezer. Smaller quantities in a cool, dry place like your pantry. Now, I want to tell you about a very exciting project we're working on in the Happy Diabetic Kitchen. It's our video masterclass, lessons and episodes with lots of recipes and lots of content, and it will be about you and me cooking together in your kitchen. Healthy and happy diabetic recipes that are delicious and simple and easy. If you haven't signed up to get the Happy Diabetic Chef newsletter, do it today, and I'll send you my 7 steps to healthy living and my healthy eating tips. You'll stay up to date on all new podcasts, insider tips, recipes, and so much more when you subscribe to our newsletter at happydiabetic.com. Do it today. What are you waiting for? Okay, up next, our amazing interview. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the Happy Diabetic Kitchen. I'm so excited to share with you something that I have found very useful in my life. So, apps on our smartphone are everywhere today. So whether you're using a GPS system to drive around wherever you're going, or for me, I have a CGM, so I use my smartphone to look at my blood sugars. Apps are part of life. And so I discovered an app called GoCoCo, and I've got the founder and Julie, a registered certified dietitian of the world who works with GoCoCo. And I just thought I would share with you today this amazing app, and you might find some value in it as I have. So guys, Bertrand and Julie, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Thank you. I have a quick question to ask you. Are you guys ready to get happy?
Oh, yes. I'm quite excited by this podcast. And first of all, for me, sorry for my accent. So, as you noticed, I'm French. So I have a terrific accent in English. But I'm living in Spain for 15 years, and I have also a terrific accent in Spanish. So, but yes, I'm happy to be here.
Okay, well, why don't we start? Bertrand, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. And
Perfect. So I'm Bertrand. I'm living in Barcelona in Spain for 15 years. Before this, I was living in France, in Paris. I wanted a little bit more of sun, so I come in the south. And for 15 years, at the beginning of my career, I was working in marketing. And at some point, I wanted to have, let's say, a more positive impact in the world. And yes, so I started this project with a friend at some point to help people decipher labels in supermarkets.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the podcast. Happy that you're here. Julie, how about you?
Well, first, I'm always happy. So perfect place for me to be is this podcast.
Awesome.
I am a registered dietitian. I am originally from Michigan, so Midwest connection there. And I also wanted to be warmer and see more sun. So I currently live in Miami, Florida. I love gardening. So on my balcony in Miami, I have a huge garden with flowers, vegetables, fruit trees. And I also love rollerblading and doing anything that involves being outside by the beach in nature.
Awesome. I live very close to the Mississippi River, and we have amazing bike trails there that I love to ride on, and rollerbladers are all the time riding on the Mississippi. So you would love it here for sure. Well, guys, let's get right into it. So can you explain to the listeners, to the happy diabetics out there, what is GoCoCo?
Yeah, so I'd be happy to take that question. So GoCoCo is an app. Like you said, Chef Robert, there's an app for everything, and we think this is a fantastic app to include on your smartphone. So what you do with GoCoCo after you download the app, open it up, and there's a scanner right in the middle of the page. Use that scanner on foods in your pantry or when you're at the supermarket. And the scanner gives you a lot of information about the food product. First, it gives you a score, 1 through 10, to give you an idea of how healthy or maybe not so healthy a product may be. And it's rated on several different things. It's rated on how much added sugar there is, how much fiber, the amount of salt, and also the amount of ultra-processed ingredients. So those are things like food colorings, dyes, things that you wouldn't have in your regular kitchen to make food. If a product does score low, it also gives you some healthier alternatives right within the same category. So let's say you're scanning popcorns at the supermarket. If you have one that scores a 1 or 2 or a low score, we'll also give you some ideas of much higher scanning popcorns. Our goal with GoCoCo is to empower consumers to make healthier food choices. So we don't want to just show you what's bad. We want to also give you the information to help you make better choices for you and for your family.
I think the key for me is this word ultra processed, because we live in a world of so much processed foods that you can't even pronounce the words on the label, in bread, even in pasta sauce, wherever. And for me, it's a big concern because I think there's some, I don't know if danger is the right word, but I think there's some concern over ultra processed foods that we eat way too much in our diet. What do you think about that?
Oh, yes, definitely. So today, 70% of the calories we are taking come from ultra processed food. So, and indeed, I think we can tell it, it's a huge problem, and it's linked. So, for recent studies, to more than 30 diseases like diabetes, unfortunately, cancer, and a lot more. So it's typically the kind of food we find everywhere, and we should avoid.
How is ultra processed food different from processed food?
A perfect, good question. So processed food, it's not because it's processed that it's bad. Okay, of course, we all want to eat minimal whole food, but canned goods or processed food is it's also fine. So processed food is basically a soup, um, anything you can recognize the ingredients. When you start to add ingredients that doesn't sound familiar to you, it's probably an ultra processed food. And exactly ultra processed food. And when you add some what we call cosmetic additives or ingredients, that made additives that change the taste or the colors, the flavors of the food. And we could say like makeup for food. So we try to add that the food is in poor quality. And as you know, with real food like fruits and vegetables, you don't need flavors or colors. It already tastes good. You just add colors or flavors when you don't have a good product. So it's something to hide usually a poor quality product.
And this app makes it super simple when you're in the grocery store to simply open the app, scan it, and it will give you, I think there's a color rating, right? And there's like a 1 to 10. Maybe Julie, can you talk about that a little bit? How does that work?
Yeah, so all foods in our app start with a 10. And then based on 3 different ranking systems from scientific organizations, the WHO, the NOVA scoring system for ultra processed foods, and the Chilean food warning systems, they lose points based on different criteria. So if they are high in added sugars, if they're high in sodium, if they're high in saturated fat, if they're overly high in calories, they'll lose points based on that. And then also depending on the amount of ultra processed ingredients in the foods, they also lose points based on that. So everything starts with a 10, and then we're subtracting based on those different criteria. So the number you see is the final score. And it also gives you an explanation as to why it got that score. Because again, we really want to help people make healthier choices. We don't just want to tell them what to do. We want to give them the information and help them make the best decisions. So it'll tell you why it lost points. It'll tell you, this item has too much added sugar for its category, or it has a lot of saturated fat. So that's how we get to our score in the app.
Mm-hmm. So, Julie, help me to understand this. Like, and the listeners out there who would open the app and scan as I did. I won't name the brand name of this pasta, but it was classic box of pasta, a national brand, actually made here in Iowa. I believe they have a huge processing plant here in Iowa. And it was a 10 out of 10. Okay. So, so just for clarity, a lot of people are freaked out with diabetes that they can't eat pasta. They can't eat white pasta, right? And of course, here in the Happy Diabetic Kitchen, and I think, Julie, you would agree with this, today for diabetics, we like to say everything in moderation, right? Because how are you going to tell someone to never eat a baked potato ever again or a pasta dish ever again? But they can eat a reasonable portion and manage their diabetes. So I might see this a 10 out of 10 and think, oh my gosh, but it's white pasta. It's so bad for you. It spikes my blood sugars. How would you help the listeners out there to understand how the app works with products like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I completely agree with what you said. And we account for that in the app as well. So not only do we score the products, but we also have lessons that help people to get more information like that. So for something like pasta, for example, exactly what you said, portion size matters more than anything else. As a registered dietitian, I would encourage people with diabetes and everyone to try to choose whole grains more often. You get the fiber in a whole grain, and there's also a lot of extra nutrients that are packed into whole grains. So as often as possible, I recommend whole grains. And in the app, we actually give you a little heads up that if you are choosing grains that are lower in fiber, we recommend that you eat it with some protein or with some vegetables to help make a more balanced meal, which slows the amount of time that the carbohydrates digest and causes a more steady flow of blood sugar as opposed to spiking blood sugar.
And I will add on this particular topic that we added also a diabetes warning on top on the score. So exactly for this product. So if in your profile you mention that you are living with diabetes, pre-diabetes, diabetes type 2, when we spot a product, even if it's, let's say, healthy as white pasta, we are going to put you a warning for the diabetes warning. Hey, this product, it should be better if you eat, as Julie mentioned, with if you add some salads, or we give you advice for those kind of products that could be not totally ideal for people with diabetes. So when you mention this in your profile for those kind of products, exactly that waste pasta, you have a special warning to give you more information about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a great point. I know here in the kitchen, we talk a lot about the plate method, which is, half your plate of vegetables, a quarter of it with a starch, and a quarter of it with a protein. So when you think about eating in a happy and healthy diabetic way like that, it makes perfect sense, right?
We are huge fan also about the plate method, and we have lessons also inside our app. It's totally our philosophy and what we say to people basically.
Yeah, us too here. Okay, that's awesome. So, Julie, you mentioned lessons, which I have looked at the lessons and done almost all of that I could find, and I thought they were very easy, very intuitive, and spoke in a language that I could understand. Do you want to just tell our folks out there a little bit more about the lessons and maybe how they were created and how they're used?
Yes. I'm glad that you had the chance to check them out and found them easy to use. That's great feedback that we love to hear. So there is another dietitian in Spain. Her name's Laura, and she creates a lot of the lessons, and I help and input on the lessons as well. And we have lessons on a lot of different topics. Like I mentioned before, we really want to help people make better choices, not just tell them, oh, this product is bad. We want to give you ideas for how you can make healthier product choices. And we also want to help you with the goals that you have. So if your goal is weight management, if you are looking to improve your heart health, if you might be living with diabetes, there are lessons inside the app for all of those topics and more. And then we also have recipes that go along with those lessons. So we also want to encourage people to cook more at home. So we have some healthy and easy recipes that our users can create healthy meals at home as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and what we noticed about lessons is at the end, healthy eating is like quitting smoking. No, it's easy to say, but hard to do. At the end, the theory of eating healthy is quite easy, but to do it in your daily life, it's really hard. So that's why we try to help people with, for instance, how do you handle your emotion when you are sad, when you are bored? We are going to eat more, maybe. So we try to help people on those kind of things. Um, because yes, no, it's not so easy that it looks like.
Mm-hmm. What I love about this conversation and about the app, GoCoCo, is that I my mission is to get people to cook at home, right? So it's all about, I mean, I've been in the restaurant business all my life, and I love going out to eat, and that's certainly fun, but you can't do that every day. So we have to teach people how to cook in a lifestyle way of eating, not a diabetic diet, not these weird diets. I don't want to offend anybody, but I think diets are very difficult to adhere to, but a lifestyle way of eating is something over time you can really master. And I think the GoCoCo app helps with that. And it also has an amazing database of delicious looking recipes. And I will also say, and Bertrand, you and I have talked about this, the food photography is outstanding. And the recipes are realistic and look to be simple to make. Should we just chat about that a little bit? Maybe how those got created and
Perfect. So yes, the idea we try, and I absolutely agree. So at the end, all eating healthy is a lot about cooking yourself because you know exactly what you put in your food, and you can. It's easier for the portion size and everything. So we try to help people with recipes with less than 5 ingredients, less than 5 steps. Most of the time, you try to have less 15 minutes of cooking. So we want to add more recipe for your daily life. No, for when we come back from work, we are tired, and sometimes it's not. It's you don't want to cook. No, you're just tired. You just want to watch TV. But what we want to help you here and say, hey, 15 minutes of your time. Let's make something cool,
Mhm.
and that's what we try to do.
Another thing I like about your recipe database is it covers a wide variety of flavors and textures. I mean, I have the app open and I'm looking at it right now, but everything from uh dal curry to oat blueberry muffins, to fresh kale salad, to endive. It's just all over the board. So you can find something that really is intriguing. And of
Exactly.
course, I love to challenge people to get out of your comfort zone. Try a new dish, try a new flavor profile. Um, that's the fun of cooking, I think.
Yes, exactly. So what we try to do is people normally say, "Hey, real food is boring, and ultra processed food is fun." And we want to say people, no, you can eat at home, make some really nice, tasty meals, and it's gonna be awesome, and it's not so hard, so you don't have to go to fast food. Um, and yes, we try to cover as much as flavors that we can.
Yeah. So here's a question. Are there hidden, back to the ultra and the processed, are there hidden processed ingredients in the healthy foods that we consume? And if so, I mean, are there some ingredients that you think we should just avoid? Or what's your take on that?
Marketing for food companies, they are very good at what they do.
Yes.
They want to make you think you're eating healthy food products. So the packaging, the health claims, the no this, no that, no added this, no added that, makes you think if, on a quick glance that you might be grabbing a healthier option. But a lot of times it's not as healthy as it might seem. And that's where GoCoCo can really come in handy and help identify, help detect those ultra processed ingredients that might be in there. If it's a no sugar product or if it's a no fat product and it tastes really good, what might they be adding in there to make it taste so good? So a lot of times it's flavorings, colorings. If it's no added sugar, it might be extra fat. If it's no fat, it might be extra sugar or sugar substitutes. So like I mentioned, what we want to do is just empower you to make the best choice for you. So we're helping you decode these food labels and find out what you really are eating. So there's nothing that I would say you can't ever eat this ever. To your point, Chef Robert, moderation is definitely key. But there's things that we shouldn't really be eating all the time. And there's a lot of additives and things that have actually been banned in Europe for decades that are still used in the United States. And GoCoCo points those out for you so that you have the knowledge, you have the power to decide what's best for you.
I think that's so well said because,
Thank you.
when we're at the supermarket looking at labels, which I promote a lot, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a certified registered dietitian of the world like you, Julie. So I don't understand half of what's on a label. And I think it's time to, as a diabetic or someone trying to live healthy, is really spend some moments learning what those are if you can and avoiding them when you can. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Our app actually tells you what those things are too. So
Mm-hmm.
the things that we can't pronounce that might be 20 letters long, 10 syllables long, not even exaggerating, we describe what they are. So you have a better idea of what you're putting in your body.
Yeah, I love that about the app. Bertrand, you were going to say?
Yes, and at the end, it's not about focusing on one or two, let's say, bad ingredients. It's let's try to have a global view on the product. And if you start to see people you don't recognize, you should probably reduce your consumption. But as we said, you don't have to stop. So people today is consuming 70% of ultra processed food, one change at a time. No, if you switch from 70% to 60%, you are going to see a difference. If you move to 60% to 50%, another difference. So it's not, sometimes we are too ambitious and we say, hey, we are going to stop everything, but it's not the good
Mm-hmm.
journey. The idea is try when you can. If you can reduce and change, maybe with as we said, pasta sauce. So you have healthy pasta sauce and less healthy pasta sauce. You are not going to see huge difference. So if you can, take the healthy pasta sauce, but one change at a time at the end.
Yeah, take baby steps, right? I mean,
Exactly, totally.
we're trying to build a habit, a lifestyle way of eating. Um, Now, on your website, these are your words. I love it. Maybe you could tell us a little more about it. But I think the overall philosophy of GoCoCo is it's as easy as scan, learn, and cook.
Yes, yes, exactly. So um, yes, exactly. So we want to, at the end, we want to empower people, no? So at some point, the more you learn, the more you cook, the more you scan also to detect, you are going to change step by step your habits. And as you said, at the end, it's a real food lifestyle. And the good part of it is that what I noticed, I was eating a lot of ultra processed food when I was young and before starting this project, a lot. And you have like an addiction. So let's say that your palate expects you want sweet things or salty things. And the more you reduce your consumption, the more you no more want this kind of product. So it's natural. And if you can reduce a little bit your consumption of sugar and sugary products, you will see that there are no more, you no more want to consume them at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, let's say, as Michael Pollan was saying, eat food, not so much, mostly plants. Let's say
Mm.
the basics of healthy eating and what we try to promote inside our app.
Mm-hmm. Julie, any thoughts on that? Scan, learn, and
Yeah.
cook.
Yeah, as a dietitian for over 20 years, I've been helping people make healthier food choices and teaching them how to read labels and how to make the best choices for them. And I think that this is just one really additional great tool that they can have in their toolkit. Dietitians can use this with their clients. Um, all consumers can use this. It's fun for kids. I know a lot of kids that are having fun running around the stores, scanning foods and helping their parents make better choices for them. So it's fun, it's easy, and it's really insightful when you scan some things and you think, oh, I thought I was making a really good choice there, but it looks like I could do a little bit better in this category and make a little healthier choice here. Like Bertrand was saying, our aim is not to get people to eat nothing but 100%, pure foods. We know that that's not realistic. And as a dietitian, I don't try to preach perfection, but making small changes throughout your day, like Bertrand said, really can add up to big results. So making little changes here and there can really help you to get a overall healthier diet.
I think for me, one of the most amazing things about this app is I've taken it to so many different varieties of stores, from the big box, like the Costco's of the world, to the local supermarkets, to local drugstores that have food products. And the database of products are phenomenal. I mean, it's very rare when I can scan something and it doesn't show up. And it's simply amazing. I'm like thinking, wow, that's in here. And of course, listen, it's like the Wizard of Oz. You don't have to reveal the curtain to see the wizard back there. It's okay. But I'm just here to tell my listeners that the database is super deep. I'm guessing most foods that you enjoy eating are in the database.
We are working a lot on this. It's a huge topic. In the US, you should have around 60, 600,000 or 700,000 products. So it's a huge amount of work, and we try to get as much as we can.
We also
A-
encourage people, if they scan something and it's not in our database, to tell us and we'll add it.
Oh, perfect.
And it's an interesting point also, because I think we can say that we eat less. I mean, we don't eat as our ancestors or grandfather or anything. But my grandmother had a super, when she was cooking, she had 100 or 200 products available. Now in a supermarket, we have 50,000 products available. So we have not changed in 40 years. The food environment has changed. That's why it's much more complicated for us to make healthy choices. It's not our fault, because we are living in a toxic food environment. And it's really hard to make sometimes healthy choices, and we keep blaming individuals and consumers when it's not their fault if they're living in a food desert or if they're living in supermarket where everything is unhealthy.
I think that's a great point. I mean, you can't blame the consumers, but we certainly might be able to point to, like Julie, as you said, some very convincing and clever marketing of food products that can make you believe anything.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree with that. And that's why all the tools we can have in our toolbox to make better choices, it's a win for the consumers when there's more options for them to be able to identify the healthiest foods out there.
Yeah. I really love this product. And obviously that's why you guys are here today, because, you know, um, I believe in it, and I'm excited to use it, and I want to share it with my listeners. It may not be, it may not be the tool for everybody, but again, Julie, as you said, it's the tool, another tool in your toolbox, just like medicine, just like, uh, everything you do to manage your health is in a toolbox. I think this is one tool that um, you might find very useful while you're preparing food at home and shopping at home. It's really amazing. So, guys, how do we get it?
So it's in the App Store and the Google Play Store. Actually, I'm going to stop and let Bertrand answer that
Okay,
question.
no problem.
I don't know. It was perfect, Julie. So you
Oh,
are
that was
just
right. You want me to just
yes,
say it again
exactly.
then?
We just look for GoCoCo. So GoCoCo, it's for Go Conscious Consumer. And we just have to put GoCoCo in the App Store on the Google Play Store, and you should find us. And another point interesting about scores is at the end we sometimes you scan product and you see, oh, 2 on 10, 2 on 10. But if you move from a 2 on 10 to a 4 on 10, it's already an improvement. So we don't have to be perfect.
Mm.
We don't have to always look for the 7 or the 8, 9 or 10. If we used to eat a 1 or 2 and we move to a 4, it's already a step in the good direction.
Okay, I think that is a really good point because the first time I tried it, I didn't have a lot of tens in my pantry, and I sort of thought, "Oh my gosh, I'm not worthy," you know. So, but I think it's a perfect. It's the same with treating your diabetes or any disease. Make small steps, small improvements can make a huge difference. So to go from 2 to a 4 in your rating, I think that's a great point. Thank you for saying that. And in the show notes today, I will have all the links in the show notes and information about GoCoCo. And again, the Coco is consumer.
Conscious consumer.
Okay. Well, guys, what else should we chat about this amazing app? Anything that we missed?
No, for me, maybe we had some nice tips for your journey. If you want to, we were discussing with Julie last time. I don't know, Julie, if you remember them. Tips I like is if you don't want to eat it, just don't buy it. So you have food at home. Sometimes I try to. A lot of your decisions are made in a supermarket because once I have, in my case, once I have it at home, I eat everything in 2 days. So sometimes it's better not to buy um, than to try to resist because those kind of foods they are made to be overwritten and they are made to addict you. So it's really hard sometimes to resist to them. So it's you have specific food. It's hard to eat them with moderation. You have to know which one you can buy and you will eat them with moderation and which one you are going to finish everything.
Yeah. I mean, that's so true for my personal eating. I have to be very careful what I bring home because I know if I bring home a box of Cheez Its and I sit down while watching a football game, they're gone. And, if you look at, again, the nutritional label, it will tell you what they think is a reasonable portion size, which I don't see how they came up with, 8 Cheez Its is your portion size, but that's another
Exactly.
topic for
For
another
me,
day.
chocolate. If I buy
I have
chocolate, I would eat every day,
Me
everything.
too.
and I have a tip that goes along with that topic. So let's say those Cheez-Its do make it into your house and you are watching a football game. My biggest tip for those kind of starchy foods is to take even what's a reasonable portion size for you. So let's say it's 20 Cheez-Its, not even 8. Put them on a plate so you can see what they look like on a plate. And to your talking about the plate method earlier, get some protein, get some healthy fat, and have that with the Cheez-Its so that those Cheez-Its last longer and they're more satisfying. So maybe you make like a little charcuterie plate to watch the football game with. You got some Cheez-Its, you got some cheese, you have some fruit. You put it all on a plate, you put the box of Cheez-Its away back in the cabinet before you go sit down on the couch and cheer on your football team.
That is a golden tip. That is great. You're absolutely right. And this is all part of learning how to eat a healthy lifestyle way of eating, right? Because we have to eat differently. We know that. The trick is just how do I stop eating the foods I really love? And maybe you don't have to, but maybe the way you think about eating them I shouldn't say, they need to change. The way you eat needs to be adjusted, but eat the food you love again in moderation. you
I
know
agree because if we categorize things as bad or we can't eat them, that's all we're going to think about. So, like I said, there is room for those kind of foods in your healthy diet, but it is about moderation, portion size and sort of what else we're eating too. So thinking
Yeah.
about the bigger picture.
Yeah. I was just doing a little cooking demo for some folks, and I make these Malaysian style curry puffs, right? So it's chicken and tomato and curry and a little brown sugar and coconut milk in a mixture, and then you put it in puff pastry shells and you bake 'em, right? So the recipe's on my website at happydiabetic.com, FYI. But in the audience, someone raised their hand and I said, yes. She says, well, and I had the brown sugar in a bowl, and they said, but you're diabetic. You can't not eat sugar. So there's a lot of education that needs to happen for people. And sometimes if you're living with diabetes, your family members don't understand just exactly how you should eat or can eat. So, anytime we can educate people about eating, which is what your app does, it's a gold star winner, 100% Super Bowl winner for me. Absolutely.
I think that's very well said. I completely agree. And those sound
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah, they are. They're absolutely amazing. Yeah, that's the fun of food, right? I mean, expanding to learn new ways to eat and cook and spice makes living amazing. Well, guys, anything else? I don't want to keep you. Your time is super valuable. Anything else we want to add to this conversation?
For me, maybe a last point is that sometimes it's not about what you take away, but what you add. No? So, for instance, in my case, what I really try to do is to have fruit and vegetables at every meal. So I not always do it, of course, but sometimes the fact to add, for instance, I used to eat a lot of pasta. I still eat a lot of pasta, but now I try to have a small salad with my pasta.
Mm-hmm.
And find your best friend salad, I would say. What kind of salad you can do really easily and you eat every time. And yeah, so I really try to sometimes not to remove things, but more to add healthy things.
Mm. Excellent. That's an excellent tip. Julie, anything for you?
Well, I can endorse Bertrand's tip. I like that. Dietitian approved. Yeah, it is. It's about moderation and making better choices, and all of the small choices that you make add up to your whole lifestyle. So if you can move a little bit more, taking a few walks a few times per day, it doesn't have to be one time at the gym, where you go all out. It can be 3 smaller walks throughout the day. And it's very similar with food. So like Bertrand said, adding some vegetables to your meals. For me, taking a look at processed foods versus trying to choose the less processed foods. So that's where GoCoCo can really be helpful. And also trying to choose foods with ingredients that you can pronounce. That's a big one that I've been promoting for years and years. And I think GoCoCo helps make that a little easier now too. And choosing the plate method. I'm really a big fan of the plate method also. So that goes along with Bertrand's tip too. So instead of just having pasta, you're having pasta and vegetables. And especially for everybody, having balanced blood sugar control, balanced digestion, it helps to have a balanced meal. So lean proteins, healthy fats, lots of fruits and vegetables, whole grain carbohydrates, choosing those things most often over processed foods, little steps like that is going to help you have a healthier lifestyle overall.
Wow, that was amazingly said.
And the last one I will add is enjoy it. So when you eat healthy, enjoy it. When you eat ultra processed food, enjoy it. Don't feel bad about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guilt, right? So,
exactly.
yeah.
That's why we should always enjoy. Thank you.
Yeah, you should enjoy food. I mean, food is love, and food is community, and food is creative and artistic, and you should enjoy it. It's a big part of our life, and I plan on being around a long time to enjoy the food I love, right?
Exactly.
Well, guys, thank you for being on the podcast today. This was super, super informative. The app is GoCoCo. You'll find it at the App Store and the Google Play Store. I'll have all the links in the show notes. And guys, thanks for being on the pod today. Would you ever consider to come back again?
Of course, I would love.
Anytime. Always like to be happy.
There you go. Me too. Well, guys, thanks so much. And hey, everybody, stay tuned. We will be right back. And like all the suggestions that we've talked about today, remember to consult with a healthcare professional for your personalized advice and guidance tailored to your specific needs and medical history. One size does not fit all. This podcast is not intended to replace professional medical advice. The views expressed on this podcast may not be those of the host or the Happy Diabetic Kitchen. Always consult your medical team if you're planning on making any changes to your health plan, medication, lifestyle, or anything going on with your diabetes. Remember, I'm not a doctor, a certified diabetic educator, or a dietitian of any kind, although I am a father of 3 amazing kids, Attila, Dracula, and Frankenstein. Well, that does make me a psychiatrist of sorts. Well, my mother wanted me to be a doctor. Does that count? And if you're loving the podcast, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss one single episode. The Happy Diabetic Kitchen is made from scratch, seasoned with love, cooked to perfection. Our theme music is by the Happy Diabetic Kitchen Band, and of course, our kitchen mascots, Scout and Tucker, who sleep about 12 to 16 hours a day. Can you believe it? Wow, what a life they have. Remember, everybody, this year, better than last year. This month, better than last month. This week, better than last week. And this day, better than yesterday. Thanks for tuning in, and let me leave you with this thought. Remember this. The kitchen is your canvas, and the ingredients are your paints. Create a masterpiece and share it with the people that you love. Experiment. Go out on a limb. Take a risk. You might create the next most amazing dish in the world. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And remember this. At the Happy Diabetic Kitchen, no one loves you more than me.